Well, that sucked. We're going to talk about it here. Locked On Gators. We're going to be sad and miserable. Happy Thursday.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, or I guess last listen, considering it's 11:45 p.m. But we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts, and sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad. It depends on if the team just completely ruins our night. We'll see how it goes with there. Make sure to download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. It's awesome. But hey, yeah, go ahead, say in the chat. Yeah, whatever there is. There's Dust Tails, you miserable. But yeah, Dust Tails is in there. We got a lot of people in here, so have fun. Let's go. Let's do it. But that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen, including my high school football team that won one game my junior year. That was just absolutely pitiful. Just the worst. I've never seen a team come out so flat in week one. Like I said last year after the Vanderbilt game that was the worst coaching performance I've maybe ever seen, that it was the worst coaching performance we've seen from Billy Napier to this point. And then he said, you know what? Yeah, you think that. Wait till we get to week 1, 2023. And it was just absolutely pitiful. Based on the comments, there are very few Gators fans in here, and I see Knowles and Dogs and probably some Utes in here, so that's super fun. It was just bad. There's no other way to go about it. There were quite a few things that just kind of confused me. I don't know why they just didn't even attempt to run the football. That just made no sense to me, considering, they're a pretty good running team. I get it. The stats look really crappy when you look at how they ran against Utah, but then you look at there was no time to ever get into a rhythm at any point. Montrell Johnson had what? 3 carries or something, 4, 5, 6. It wasn't a lot of carries. There was no time to get into a rhythm. It sucked. There's no other way about that. I mean, I think one of my biggest issues was just how they came out flat. The whole time leading up to this game, we talked about this game, and it was, hey, either team could win this one. I thought Florida would win it, which yikes. But either team could win this game, but it was going to be close. Yikes. But Utah's a good football team. Thought Florida was just gonna edge them out like they did last year. That didn't happen. I don't necessarily care about losing. Utah's a good football team. I don't care about losing to Utah. I care about the piece of crap product that this team put out there. There were plenty of things to look, genuinely, there were plenty of things to look at and go, okay, there's at least some promise. Graham Mertz looked better than we thought he would. Still had some plays that were just like, what the hell was he doing? 2 times he tried to check it down to the running back in the flat, and it was inaccurate in the flat. One of them was like 6 feet away from him, barely outside of the pocket. It was just ridiculous. I will also say I knew going into this, based on watching what Graham Mertz did at Wisconsin, and just even looking at the stats, you can tell Graham Mertz was really bad at escaping pressure. This was the thing that we talked about since he committed to Florida, where it was going to be way worse for the Gators in 2023 than it was in 2022. Because in 2022, you had Anthony Richardson, who escaped, I think he got sacked on 9.2% of the pressures or something like that. When he was pressured, that's how many times he got sacked. Graham Mertz was 22.3%. It's a pretty big jump. We knew it'd be rough. I can't wait for Pro Football Focus to put out their numbers from tonight's game, because holy crap, it's got to be like 55 to 65%. It was really, really rough. I don't know why he's just incapable of, like, he sees the defender starting to get off the block and he's like, oh my God, sack me. Like, I don't know what his game plan is there, but it's just the worst thing I've ever seen. Run the football, please, Billy. Like, that's the thing you're supposed to be good at. I don't know what the hell you came in here doing. Defensively, Princely Umanmielen. I love Princely as a pass rusher. I love what he can do. I fully support the occasional drop into coverage. Why on earth Austin Armstrong was like, hey, you know what's this new weird little thing we're going to try that's super going to be totally effective? We're going to take this edge rusher that has NFL scouts going, hey, he's really good. We're going to take him and put him in man coverage against running backs downfield and against tight ends. And I don't know what was going on there. Maybe the air was too thin and they just couldn't get proper blood flow to their brain or something. I don't know what was going on there that they were like, hey, we're going to drop Princely into coverage a ton. Freshman left tackle going against him? Don't care. Drop into coverage in man coverage. I don't get what the thought process was behind a lot of things, and that's the most frustrating thing for me. I think Utah had a better roster. Said that going into the game. Thought Utah had a decent chance of winning. Thought whoever won, it'd be a close game. That was well established. The issue for me is not the loss. It's going out there, coming out flat in week 1. The one time you really can't come out looking flat. Week 1. To start the year, you're already just like, screw it. Who cares? Pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. It sucks that this is Florida, an SEC program that is very storied, and we were having pretty high hopes for it. And I think it's still fair to have those high hopes. Again, you just lost to what I think is a top 11 to 12 team. So it's fair to kind of lose to them. It's just coming out so flat. It's just so disgusting. And it's embarrassing that going up against them too, like you're supposed to be a storied team. Freshmen were the best performers out there. Freshmen were the guys that were like, oh, damn, they're making plays. TJ Searcy, hell of a game. Eugene Wilson III, hell of a game when he got the opportunity to actually show it on offense. Special teams, he's a whole other story. But there we go there. So it was very weird there. Special teams was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was rough. I see the chat is having a lot of fun here. We got 150 of you in here. So we're going to talk about everything. I see some insults in there. Thanks, Brandon Alger. That's cool. You're super fun. Love you. Before we talk about what's actually going on in the chat, I do want to talk to you guys about game time because, well, hopefully you didn't buy tickets to this game because yikes. But home games coming up in the next couple of weeks. Florida Gators hosting Tennessee in 2 weeks. McNeese, Charlotte, all that stuff. And if you're trying to get tickets, Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I use it to go watch Braves at Mets. Cody Senga pitching. Dude's awesome. Loved him. Got to see a win, which is rare if you're a Mets fan, or apparently if you're a Gators fan too. Snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off with Game Time. So download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. And I will ask you guys this, because I know plenty of dudes in chat. It's a football show. We know what it is. Do you ever have trouble performing? You ever out with your partner and feel like you can't get the job done? Does it get worse when there's lots of people around? Maybe in the same room, 6 feet to your left. It happens. Is it especially bad with guacamole? Talking about weak chips. The ones that can't handle a scoop of guac. Well, here at Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips, we understand the pain of trying to dip with weak tortilla chips. No one wants to go soft on the guac. Saying you got way too much dip on your chip. It's not a problem. Not a problem with Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips. Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips are literally built to dip. They're made the old-fashioned way by cutting actual tortillas. Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips are both sturdy and delicious. You can find them at Publix in sea salt, lime, and nacho flavors. Find them in the deli section with the dip. So head on over to Publix, grab a bag of Zach's Mighty, and scoop that guac like the stud you are. Speaking of studs, Florida Gators aren't. That was just an absolutely horrible performance. I see the chat. There's 40 messages in 2 minutes of ad reads. Y'all had a lot of fun there. Here we go. Told y'all Napier sucks. You know what? Told you I'm a bought and paid for hype boy. Let me tell you this. If you think that I live in an apartment and I'm a bought and paid for hype boy, that University of Florida, you have no idea how much money they can spend, and they ain't spending it on me to be a hype boy or a sunshine pumper or whatever it is. So that's how it is. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon. You suck. How about that one? Tom Gore prefers his crow blackened with horseradish on the side and a garden salad. Thank you. Yep. We'll eat crow here. I have no problem saying it. It comes with the territory of talking trash. You have to be ready to talk that trash. And then when it doesn't work out, it's like, damn, now you just have to accept it. We're not blocking people. We're not hiding anybody. Some SEC teams act as if that title is enough to win the game. Them boys still got to go out there and play with discipline. Here's the thing. You're a Seminoles fan. Your team didn't even cover the spread when you beat the Florida Gators last year, and you stormed the field. So how about you take your pathetic little piece of trash program with Mike Norvell and you go shut the hell up forever? Thanks. Hopefully Florida can beat Tennessee. They probably can. Joe Milton is someone that I'm just not bought in on. It's not even like I'm like, hey, Florida's awesome. I'm just not bought in on Joe Milton. Tennessee going to beat Sunbelt Gators like a drum. Congrats. You won one time in like 400,000 years. You're super cool. Utah's full of a bunch of slow, below average players, and Florida should have killed them. Money Parks didn't look slow when he just toasted everybody after RJ Moten took out Jason Marshall Jr. What coach could the Gators get? None. Just financially, Florida will not fire Billy Napier. This was a horrible performance. It was a horrible, inexcusable performance. The Florida Gators will not fire Billy Napier, because if you fire Billy Napier, then you're paying Dan Mullen, Billy Napier, and whoever you replace Billy Napier with, which means I believe you're paying Dan Mullen $4 million. You'd pay Billy Napier about $7.2 million, and then you'd have to pay the replacement probably more than Billy Napier, because you're probably going to go for a big name in college football coaching, or just football coaching in general. And you're not going to do that if you're the University of Florida, because, spoiler alert, that's dumb. Okay, you've got someone who, bad performances. He's got to clean it up. He needs to do that. But he's clearly in the process of trying to build this program up. You look at the coaching staff, you look at the recruiting staff, and just the recruiting classes, things are generally looking up for the Florida Gators. Some stuff sucks. We're not going to pretend it doesn't. But things are generally looking up program-wise. Auburn Football Daily. Zachary. Stop it. Brian Harsin Part 2. But believe me, the off-field stuff Brian Harsin did. Nothing like that. Billy Napier needs an OC. I am starting to get a little bit on that one. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. I'm starting to get a little bit on it, because this was a team that last year you had quite a bit of success running the football against Utah, even without Anthony Richardson's legs. You had quite a bit of success doing it. You're a team who you want to run the football. You're good at running the football. You chose to not run the football. No idea what the hell you're doing there. Just don't get it. Thanks for visiting Sac Lake City. Here's the thing. First off, nobody outside of the Utah fan base calls it that. Stop trying to make fetch happen, Gretchen. Okay? It ain't going to happen. Second, congratulations. You had 5 sacks against a team with a bad pass blocking offensive line that dropped back about 50 times. That's not a good ratio, especially when you consider there's a complete statue in the pocket there. So, congratulations. You did an average job. Pat yourself on the back. You won the football game because, yes, you were a better team. No doubt about that. But you're just nonsense, and you make absolutely no sense. But at least at least you tried your best there. Lagway has both feet out the door. Sorry, I'm just going to show this comment. This is what you say if you're brain dead. That kind of stuff. That's what you say if you have literally maybe one working brain cell in your entire brain here. He does need a full recruiting cycle there. Strickland needs to be axed this year. Probably not. I think Scott Strickland is safe as long as Billy Napier is safe. Okay, so if Billy Napier gets fired, Scott Strickland will not get the opportunity to hire another football coach. We'll say that because I just don't think he deserves that. He probably didn't deserve this up. You think things are looking up? I do. They played their third string quarterback almost half the game. They did. That is it. Overreacting defense played okay. The defense played okay. The issue was that half the time they weren't set when Utah was getting ready to snap the ball. And there's an important thing to remember when you talk about football. It's an important kind of concept, and I know it's very far-fetched. Offense don't wait on defense, okay? So offense can snap the ball whenever they want. The defense has to get set, and they did not get set whatsoever. They were just constantly late, and they just constantly shot themselves in the absolute foot. It was horrible. Took the wrong approach heading into Salt Lake. The message should have been the elevation is high. High elevation isn't why you got stomped up and down the court the entire game, up down the field. Hire Lane Kiffin, that ain't going to happen. He tried getting hired here. They said no, so he's never coming here. That is a whole lot of messages. Here, would say the same about Auburn, probably that they suck. Is that it? They suck. Utah didn't look great either. Utah looked relatively good for a good portion of the time. They looked pretty good, considering they had Bryson Barnes in there. Yeah. Brandon Olsen, Vegas has been wrong before when I told him Florida's win total of 5.5 meant they were in for a long year. Because Vegas has been wrong before. They were literally wrong last year. Say more dumb things. Why don't you? Florida's the new Vandy. That's not true at all. I'm getting comments, like notifications in here. We're in here. You can come and talk to me and hate me if you want. 70% completion, 333 yards. You can't ask for more. Yes, I can. I can ask for him to connect on the swing route. I can ask for him to see that there's a defender coming into the pocket and go, I shouldn't stand directly still and let them hit me. 75-yard touchdown. It was 70. By the way, nobody is ever allowed to complain about RJ Moulton's tackling anymore. RJ Moulton's safety that came from Michigan that got benched for his tackling. No one's allowed to complain about it anymore. He had one hell of a tackle against Jason Marshall Jr. Sure, it was his own teammate. One hell of a tackle, though. It was a fantastic job. First play of the game, he just went for it. Getting beat by $1 billion against UGA, you don't have a brain. It's as simple as that. Being patient, it's literally just going quicker than I can. Vandy is better. Okay. Utah didn't give us a knockout blow. That's the thing. Florida played awful football. And for most of that game was in it. That's the thing. You get rid of this stupid double number 3 jersey penalty. That's not the touchdown. Simple as that. 4th and 1 false start. You get rid of that. Like, there's so many stupid things where they just shot themselves in the foot. And it is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Johnson had 2 drops out of the backfield. He had 1. And even that one was like up here. So don't even tell me that. One game you're ready to jump off a cliff. We don't have cliffs here. Okay. So no, I'm not. Why does Billy refuse to hire a play caller or a special teams coach? That's the last thing I'm going to answer before we end this. I don't know why he refuses to hire an offensive play caller. I am kind of getting on board with he should do that now because holy crap. Special team, he has a game changer coordinator. Why does he need a special team coordinator? It's as simple as that. Thank you so much for checking out Locked On Gators. This rant will continue tomorrow because, yeah, it sucks. Life is pain sometimes. But thanks for tuning in. Free, available daily, free, wherever you listen to podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And I'm gonna go cry a bit. Probably just gonna cry myself to sleep. And I'm gonna eventually have to rewatch that game, and I'm gonna be as miserable as humanly possible. But thanks. Have a great night. Can't get any worse than it already has been. So